Welcome back to Business Basics, the book that helps you to accomplish 8,000 times more than you normally would by simply focusing on the key elements that are most important for business success. Today we'll be looking at Lesson 10, the subject of which is Improve Your Offerings Image. I'm Don Mitchell, author of the book, and it's a pleasure once again to share the contents with you. I want to begin, as always, by quoting from the Bible, in this case, the book of Nehemiah, chapter 2, verse 13 in the New King James Version. And I went out by night through the valley gate to the serpent well and the refuse gate, and viewed the walls of Jerusalem, which were broken down, and its gates, which were burned with fire. Something can have highly desirable qualities, but if the potential customers don't understand why it's desirable, they may not buy. Consider rapeseed. In 1972, Canadian farmers had great difficulty making money selling any of their rapeseed crops for human consumption. Few wanted to buy any products made out of rapeseed, and the prices were accordingly quite low. Today, the rapeseed market is far larger, and profits are fat for farmers and rapeseed processors. What happened? Rapeseed was crossbred to establish a new strain with a nicer appearance and a better taste due to having less acid, and the new strain was referred to by another name, canola, which stands for Canadian oil, low acid. Canola oil was soon praised by experts as a very healthy form of fat. The very same women who wouldn't have bought rapeseed oil to save their lives, no matter how nice looking, tasty, and healthy the product was, because of its name, now couldn't buy enough canola oil. Although Shakespeare told us that a rose by any other name would smell as sweet, a name can certainly get in the way of helping us find useful products. The connotations of a product's name can be important. Here's an example. Many people regularly suffer from urinary tract infections. Gynecologists often recommend that such patients drink cranberry juice. When such advice first became common, sales soared for tasty, sweet cranberry juice cocktail, which contained only 10% cranberry juice. Many women didn't realize the product they were drinking didn't have much cranberry juice in it. 3 decades later, diet authorities began warning people against drinking juice as mixed with sugar-based extenders, especially cranberry-flavored cocktails. After that, cranberry juice cocktails dived, while sales of beverages containing a high percentage of cranberry juice boomed. An older example of how connotations affect behavior comes from the U.S. vodka market. During the 1930s, those who drank vodka were often assumed to be members of the Communist Party, not an attractive image at the time. This kind of alcohol also had a reputation of being very powerful. Some thought it would lead to a hangover where it felt as if your head was about to blow off. Gradually, vodka marketers focused alcohol drinkers on other attributes of vodka. It mixed well with non-alcoholic beverages such as orange and tomato juices, and it left less bad breath than whiskey and many other alcoholic beverages. Within 4 decades after the end of Prohibition, the U.S. vodka market grew by more than 1,000 times. What benefits can come from an improved image for offerings? First, you'll be noticed more often and more positively by potential customers. Second, if they need or want the benefits you provide, they will consider your offerings. Third, if you fulfill the promises of your offer in an acceptable way, they'll probably keep buying and tell others to work with you. 4, if demand is stimulated enough, you will also grow revenues faster than costs and assets, increasing your profit and cash flow as a percentage of revenues. 5th, if you grasp a uniquely desirable image, such as with an offering that has more attributes of the most positive association, you will reduce the impact of competitors against you by making their offerings seem inferior. As an example of this point, Smirnoff, the U.S. vodka market leader, made a virtuous product being filtered through charcoal several times so it was perceived as purer, suggesting fewer hangovers, less breath pollution, and better blending with juices and mixes. 6, your pricing power will increase because you now face less competition for the customers you're most likely to attract. 7. The effectiveness of mass marketing methods will be improved. With enough of an image advantage, competitors' marketing will be remembered by most potential customers as having come from you. What's the strategic lesson of expand your market by 20 times with an improved image? Fully develop the optimum image in a market you can serve, or you'll be leaving the door open to continuing new entrants who can create image advantages against you. This lesson often means a multi-brand strategy will work best, which is built around the strongest image positions. Compete then with yourself rather than with competitors. Few people ever realize the value of this strategy and miss most of the potential growth and profits they could enjoy. Let's return to the example I introduced in Lesson 9. If the Coca-Cola Company had developed Pepsi-Cola and Dr. Pepper, instead of competitors having done so, the Coca-Cola Company would control over 90% of a much larger cola market, and profits would be substantially higher due to the power of having such combined distribution. Coca-Cola's image is of being the original and the most genuine. Pepsi's image is of being the coolest and most in line with young people. Dr. Pepper's image is of being for those who are most energetic and active. No other important images have emerged except in terms of low-calorie benefits, such as Diet Coke, Coke Zero, Diet Pepsi, and Diet Dr. Pepper. The following sections address questions you should consider to locate and gain advantages from image-building activities that will help build your market. First, what benefits can you offer that customers don't yet appreciate? So here I want to quote from Genesis chapter 37, verse 15. Now a certain man found him, and there he was, wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, "What are you seeking?" Everyone who makes extensive use of an offering will eventually appreciate most of its pros and cons. But those who haven't tried such an offering, or who use it infrequently, will often be confused about what benefits the offering actually delivers. When Viagra, a prescription medicine that increases blood flow in male genitals, first came into the market, it was viewed as a product for older men and men who experienced severe sexual dysfunction. Most men avoid the product like the plague because they didn't want to think about themselves as being in either category. Some men with minor sexual dysfunctions discovered through experimentation that Viagra could help them engage in sexual activity more often, as well as more easily, particularly when impaired by alcohol and fatigue. As a result, the product came to be seen as a potential resource for any man who wanted to be more sexually active. Sales took off after online prescribing became common, providing benefit by eliminating the cost of a potentially embarrassing visit to the doctor's office. Press reports suggest that the testimony of Hugh Hefner, the former publisher of Playboy, persuaded some men without sexual dysfunctions to begin using Viagra. Although Mr. Hefner was far from a young man, he had a reputation for always having one or more young girlfriends. Suddenly there was a common perception that the cosmopolitan Playboy, who wanted a great sex life, was smart to use Viagra. Concerned that sexually faithful people might not want to be associated with what such swinging uses, the product's advertising was changed to suggest enriching life with a loved one. Couples wearing wedding rings were shown while engaged in affectionate behavior. As a result, some wives encouraged their husbands to try the product. Husbands who wanted to experiment with the product also didn't have to feel as concerned that their wives would wonder what their real agendas were. Some men still felt embarrassed to ask their personal physicians for a prescription. New advertisements were prepared to suggest how to speak more comfortably with a physician about any sexual dysfunctions. Your assignment is to look for highly valued benefits that current potential customers don't realize you can deliver. So what false beliefs then do current potential customers have about your offering? Here I'd like to quote from the book of James, chapter 3, verses 13 and 14. Who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show by good conduct that his works are done in the meekness of wisdom. But if you know bitter envy and self-seeking in your hearts, do not boast and lie against the truth. False beliefs can be based on many sources. Here are a few of the most common origins. Name, such as rapeseed. Appearance, dark-colored cranberry juice cocktails looks to many as if it is almost all cranberry juice. True association, such as vodka in Russia. Regulations concerning the use of prescribed medicines are presumed by many to be more potent than over-the-counter medications, even when that's not the case. Imaginary associations. People assume that clear beverages have fewer calories than those with dark colors. Distribution. An item sold in a beautiful store will usually be considered to be more desirable than the same item when it's sold by a street vendor. So your assignment is to learn what negative associations and images your offerings have. Next, we want to look at how much can you profitably improve your image. Here I want to quote from 2 Samuel, chapter 14, verse 25. Now in all Israel there was no one who was praised as much as Absalom for his good looks. From the sole of his foot to the crown of his head there was no blemish on him. There are two sides to this question. First, the amount of increased purchasing that occurs. Second, the amount of cost reductions for improving the offering's image. A number of tools can help improve image. Inexpensive publicity in the right context can make many offerings seem much more desirable. For instance, during the O.J. Simpson murder trial in Los Angeles, authors Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen sent a box of their chicken soup for the soul books to Judge Ito, requesting he give the books to the jurors to read while they were sequestered during the trial. Every morning, the jurors would arrive at the courthouse and wade through the waiting journalists and photographers holding the books. Reporters began writing articles about the books, and their sales increased. When admired celebrities use your offerings, sales often rise, but purchase endorsements are very expensive. Savvy marketers will instead simply send free goods to celebrities they want to be associated with, knowing that some celebrities will eventually be seen in public with the offerings. Where credibility needs to be established, you can also sponsor inexpensive competitions to find more positive uses for your offerings and publicize the winning solutions. When authorities stand behind the validity of your benefits, you may be able to use press releases to interest journalists in correcting any popular misconceptions. To understand more ways of building a positive image, read Robert B. Cialdini's classic book, Influence. Chapters 3 through 6 of the 2000% Squared Solution also offer useful insights. Your assignment is to test your best ideas for improving image in a small community. Measure results to learn what works best, then experiment again, emphasizing successes in another small community. Continue to test and to measure in this way. When you find a combination of image improvements that work very well, start expanding the combination in geographic areas you can serve well. So our next question is, how can you improve image with the most attractive potential customers first? Here I want to quote from the book from Genesis, chapter 2, verses 10 through 12. Now a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it parted and became 4 riverheads. The name of the first is Pison. It is the one which skirts the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. In Crossing the Chasm by Jeffrey Moore, you will find descriptions of some helpful ways to develop new technology markets. At first, a company can primarily attract those who are intrigued by the new technology or who expect to gain large economic advantages. The market will never proceed beyond use by such customers, however, unless the experience of the first triers is relevant to those with less interest in the technology and who expect smaller economic benefits. The market's development will depend very much then on selecting as the first customers those who will attract the interest of many other potential customers. This advice may mean seeking business from a company with a good reputation for product quality and technical knowledge, such as Procter & Gamble, or one with great perspectives on technological innovation, such as Cisco. The lesson is to select your first prospective customers for their evidentiary value and attracting other desirable customers because of the positive image their use brings to your offering, as well as for their profit potential. Your assignment is to investigate what customer proof will do to improve your image so that you can gain the largest and most profitable buyers. Demonstrate your benefits first and most aggressively with the highest rated customer proof enhancing people and organizations. Next, I'll look at the question of how can you change your business model to permit faster image improvements. Here I want to quote from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 36. Why do you gad about so much to change your way? You have an offering that will greatly benefit from endorsements Consider how you can partner with those who could most help your reputation. For instance, rather than selling your offering as a standalone item, perhaps you could persuade your customer to bundle your offering with the customer's most preferred offering. For instance, I'm sure that Dell's hardware service supplier received a big image boost when Dell began offering service for its PCs through that supplier. Since Dell had such an outstanding reputation for hardware service, other PC makers probably then wanted to hire the same service supplier. Or you might form a joint venture, as Corning did when it wanted to extend its glass technology to new end markets, where other companies had better images for their products and performance. The strategy led, for instance, to Corning combining with Owens, Illinois, to make and sell fiberglass insulation through Owens Corning. Your assignment here is to re-examine all parts of your business model to see how you could accelerate market expansion, image improvements. Test your better ideas through surveys and market experiments to see how well they might work on a broad scale before making major commitments. And the next question, and the final one for this lesson, is how can you locate undiscovered high potential customers through having an improved image? Here let's look at the book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verse 40. Let us search out and examine our ways. The most positive potential image for our offerings is often much broader than we realize. Smirnoff marketers were always very careful not to dilute its image. For many years, they didn't spread the brand's wings as wide as they might have. Vodka aficionados eventually became fascinated by vodkas made by distilling different raw materials, such as potatoes, various grains, etc. After that, the country of origin became important. Stolichnaya did very well, based on the perceived authenticity of being produced in Russia. Next, many brands were launched from other countries of origin. Later, bottle shape and brand image became important. Absolut showed the way with its amusing ads playing on its name and distinctive packaging. More recently, flavored vodkas became the rage, permitting tastier experiences without using mixers. Had Smirnoff searched out and acted on such opportunities in the 1950s, the vodka market could have been profitably led to even greater popularity and size. The sales leader usually creates most of the industry's image. If your industry is a leader with a poor or poorly developed image, you'll have to displace the leader in image terms in order to fully develop your industry's potential. Your assignment here is consider potential benefits to emphasize in creating improved image that is different from what benefits attract the bulk of users now. For instance, vodka marketers could combine vodka with other liquors and wines to provide proprietary drinks in bottled form that provide startlingly delightful taste and visual qualities, such as ones that many consider far more desirable than standard mixed drinks that employ vodka, such as vodka martini, Bloody Mary, screwdriver, and so forth. And of course, you see this now as Smirnoff actually offers a malt liquor-based beverage. So in this case, the book was actually ahead of the market's development. So thank you so much for listening. I hope this lesson has blessed you, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon. In the meantime, may God bless you, your family, and all you do. In the name of Jesus. Goodbye.